All right, we are live. We're supposed to be live on LinkedIn, but apparently it decided to cancel us. So we'll put up a replay because thank goodness I have that option to do that. And we are also live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. Um, Y'all, as panelists, had the opportunity to also rebroadcast. I don't know how that works on the other end. So it might have just caused some challenge for you, but everybody watching either live or on the replay, I'm Misha Safran, and I am a professionally credentialed coach, keynote speaker, and leadership development trainer in the areas of joy, resilience, empathy, emotional intelligence, and play. And I'm delighted to be doing these panel discussions because it supports me too, not to be so alone, but I love putting the light on other people. So we have three amazing panelists. As you're watching either this episode or the replay itself later, please feel free to type your questions or comments in the chat or whatever channel you may be watching. We may not be able to engage with you right now, but we will definitely work to engage with you afterwards. So your comments, your thoughts, your perspectives are really wonderful. Today, we are focusing on the hidden work of resilience, navigating challenges beneath the surface. And this is rather apropos for me, but I will share about that later. So, what I want to do is first start by introducing or allowing them to introduce themselves, the wonderful, fabulous folks here. I just noticed Monique and I are wearing like greenish colors, and Mike and Rachel, and we did not plan this.
It
So.
wasn't playing, but we're on it.
Whichever way.
It was synchronicity. It was meant to
Right,
be.
absolutely. One thing I do want to let our audience know, and for our panelists, I'll just repeat, there is no wrong answer here. So I may have my own perspective and views, but none of us are to come in and say, oh, no, that's not right. We can just have our perspectives and our viewpoints and show up in whatever way we want to and need to. The only thing I ask is that there's respect and no hatred and no belittling or, it's really over generosity over competition. We're here sharing the space to talk about things that are important to us and our clients and the world. So with that, let me go alphabetical. I'm going to start with Mike. Your name, who you are, your business name, and maybe where you're located and who you serve, if you'd like.
Awesome. Thank you. So Coach Mike James, I'm Mike James. I go by Coach Mike James. I am a speaker, facilitator, and coach. I am the founder and owner of P&Z Life Coaching. And I'm all about all things mindset, motivation, and energy. I'm a high energy person. And who I serve are those who are looking for what's beyond this break. I grew up in the church, a Southern church boy. And one of my favorite songs was Reach Beyond the Break. So that's what I do. And I'm just excited to be here. Misha, thank you to you. And something you said, and I thought about one of your words that I say is one of Misha's words, compassion over competition as well. So thank you, Misha, for allowing me and extending the invite. I'm happy to be here with some beautiful souls. And yeah, that's me.
All right. Thank you. And I'm going to see if I can do this right. Yes, I did it. Monique, your turn.
Thank you, Misha, and great job just facilitating and dealing with the tech today. So I really appreciate not having to do that navigation. My name is Monique Childress. I am based in Atlanta. I'm originally from Chicago, though. That's my hometown. And I am a facilitator, consultant, and coach. And so I primarily work with mission-driven leaders and change makers, really through a combination of reflection, practical tools, and insight to facilitate them through strategic planning and leadership development. So really like working with teams and individuals, especially those that might be new in leadership roles or expanded roles, to really just help them to manage their relationship with change and transition for themselves and for those that they work with. So thank you for having me. Oh, Misha, we can't hear
We don't
you.
hear you.
I'm muted. So that was, it's funny as I was going to remind everybody when somebody's speaking to mute yourselves because there can be some background noise. All right. Before I say what I was going to say, we're just going to go on to Rachael. Thank you so much, Monique. I'm really glad you're here too. So, Rachael, come on in.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me. So I'm Rachael Needham, as it says. I do I do coaching, and I like to focus on strategy and relationship stuff. And I'm also internal family systems trained. So I love to bring that in because I find that doing internal parts work, healing from things just brings so much freedom. And sometimes you might run into something that's like blocking you in the now. And it's like, oh, it's just this thing in the past, and unburdening that and then coming that. So I left the corporate world 2 years ago and was in chatbot AI stuff. So it was really great. And very grateful to be here with Misha. And I love helping people be themselves, like getting to know all of yourself where you can accept you and then bring that out and understand and know it's okay that some people aren't going to get me. That's okay. But then finding community and building community with people that will love you. And I think that starts inside first, to build that community internally first. So that's me.
Thank you so much, Rachael. And just to let everybody know, I am Misha Safran. I already gave a little bit of insight, but I'm in Martinez, California. I do work globally as I'm trilingual, speaking French, Spanish, and English. I work with educators and caregiving organizations. And so these are people who are typically in high stress, emotionally demanding environments where burnout and compassion, fatigue can completely reduce performance and your joy. And staff sometimes feel unseen, undervalued, disconnected. So I help create Team Awesome, sustainable team well-being programs. I help offer by helping with tools for empathy, emotional intelligence, joyful communication. And I really basically, I guess in short, I help educators and caregivers reduce burnout, improve communication, and create sustainable joy at work and at home. And that is also by developing empathy and emotional intelligence that supports them in creating that compassionate communication. So I'm very happy to be with everyone here. We are going to get started. I'm going to put all of us in the same space. I did it. Okay, this is really good. I really love it when things work out, but when they don't, it's another AFGO, AFGO, another fabulous growth opportunity. So our topic for today, as I said, is the hidden work of resilience, navigating challenges beneath the surface. So we are going to dive into the first question. Again, if you're watching now or the replay, please feel free to put your comments or chats, messages in the chat. We'll look for them and respond later. The first question, dun, 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 what are some of the invisible, quotes, practices or mindsets that help people sustain resilience in the face of ongoing challenges? There's no order here. We don't have to go alphabetical. You come off mute when you are like, I want this one first. And just know that I might do a little engagement in between your shares. We have 20 minutes before the end of this. So we're going to try to give 10 minutes 8 minutes per question. And then we'll do a wrap up where each of you get to close out with a golden nugget for the audience. And so who would like to go first?
I'm always happy to go first, but I also am always like, you jump in so fast that some people are like, slow down, Rachael, let somebody else go first. So I can
You got
go. Okay. All right. I think it makes me think about some of my own experiences with being in a toxic marriage, being in a challenging work environment that's very intense, and learning to take the time to look inward for myself and get comfortable with myself. So some of that for me was like just starting to see a therapist, even CBT. Like I'd say I like other modalities more, but any place that you start, that you choose to take the time to dedicate to yourself and knowing yourself and getting comfortable with it, and especially where that ties into recognizing, what is it I want? What do I not want? What am I okay with? What am I not okay with? And just even recognize those things that seem so, like when I say them, it feels so simple, right? Just knowing what you want. But recognizing what I want helped me begin to recognize, well, I really don't want to be treated this way in my work environment. I don't really want to be treated this way in my marriage environment. And then it was like, okay, well, now what do you do with it? But just identifying those things set me up to then begin to do more work. It's like laying a foundation and building on top of it. So I think that's one of the first thing that comes to my mind is you may not feel strong. You may not feel impressive. You may not even feel like, oh, I'm being resilient, but you recognizing what you need and kind of just like silencing all the other voices just long enough to be like, what do I want? For me, I think that that's one of the biggest keys that has helped me.
Great, thank you. And just for clarification for the audience with acronyms, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy?
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't CBD, everybody, just so you
Yes. No, I said T.
I'm not
And-
saying that she doesn't condone, but
Yeah.
just put it out there.
And I
Cognitive.
did go on to I worked with a domestic violence counselor. I worked with an internal family systems counselor. So that was like a launch point for me to get comfortable with doing work on mental health, emotional health, when it can feel so stigmatized to be like, oh, don't do that because people are going to judge you. Any place that you enter is going to be good when you choose to focus on you.
And I just want
In a
to
healthy
just
way.
say thank you for that, Rachael. And I want to just put out there one more time, like when you think about invisible practices, I think there's a stigma too around this thing because sometimes people don't realize how much you're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're this new person. And so people have a hard time grappling with, wait, what changed about you and how did that happen? And it's because you're behind the scenes thinking about how do I want to be treated and what behaviors do I need to change so that I can be treated that way. So thank you, Rachael. Who wants to come in next?
I can go next. I think to piggyback off of Rachael, it's definitely that introspection of what do I want, but to add to that, when we think about resilience, if we think about it as more of a system of resilience and what does that look like for the individual, then we can move more towards a collective approach to resilience. And so sometimes the invisible part of facing challenges is the feeling that I have to go through it alone. And so, like Rachael mentioned, the therapist and the other specialists that she worked with, if we think about even just the structure that we need. So, okay, I need space to really think and reflect on what it is that I want. How can I create that space either in the home or in the workplace or just in life in general? And then who might I need to lean on in order to have that space to feel comfortable, to pause, or even to invite into the space as a sounding board or for words of wisdom or advice or guidance or support. And then also having the language to be able to process what it is that's going on, to be able to then tell people what's going on, tell people, hey, here's what's happening. I could really use some support here. So I think about like, what are those systems and infrastructure that we can build around ourselves so that we don't have to be independently resilient.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the reminder of the pause. That's an invisible practice. However, if you do it right, it's not invisible at all. It's an empowerment tool, right? People are like, ooh, she looked like she was about to bite his head off, but she took a step back. Right? I mean, there's so much power in the pause. And not only is the pause a practice, but the pause is a mindset too.
Both, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Monique. All right, Mike, you get to come on in.
Oh man, I don't know what I can add to that. Especially that last part you added, Misha, that pause. You know, I love saying the powerful pause and the powerful silence. The last 6 to 8 words stand out to me in that question: sustain resilience in the face of ongoing challenges. I think about Mike Tyson's quote, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Sometimes life punches us in the face and you have a plan, right? But resilience and sustaining it, that's what stands out to me. And I think that mindset is about going back to when Rachael shared your intro, I knew that it was going to be part of what I wanted to say. And it's getting back within. It's almost like getting back to your why, because when you start out, you can build this mindset and this practice of resilience. And, I have my mindset, I have my breath work, and I've done my box breathing, but then life happens. And it's like, now how can I sustain this level that I came into this with? And it's getting back to self, because all the outside forces and extrinsic factors brings you down. And that's when we get heavy, and the weight of the world, literally that feeling of the weight of the world is on my shoulders. And it's like, now how can I pause, breathe, and get back to, okay, Mike, what do you need in this moment? What is your why? What got you to this point that has you in this struggle, this quicksand? What's on the other side of it, right? Why did you start this journey? And I think that's so important. And I've had to do it over and over in my life, even from an early age, getting back to what is the why? How did I get here? But where am I going? And so it's this idea that we hear a lot of times, speakers or authors and people say, remember, you're not going through it, you're going to it. What's on the other side, right? So I think that for me, that part is what stands out, sustaining resilience, right, in the face of ongoing challenges, because we think of it as this muscle where we prepare for things, but what happens when the plan doesn't go A to B and it goes A to C and back to B? It's like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. So I think it's so huge to remember your why.
Thank you. Wow, such great insight from all of you, going within, identifying the pause, being aware of what you want, what you don't want, how to get that, and then knowing your why. And one of the things that I want to just add to this conversation, because I also was drawn to the sustainable resilience in the face of ongoing challenges, me personally, but also my clients. We have set up things that they know they can do in a short amount of time. So, for example, the micro moments of joy. How can you identify a micro moment of joy? What about your gratitudes? If you can't do 10 gratitudes, could you do one? Something you're grateful for every morning. There's also some, what we have been referring to as meta, but I have eight. That's okay. There I go. 8 phrases that I say to myself all throughout the day, and sometimes more often if I need it, and sometimes just once a day, but it just depends on. But there's a practice and a mindset that I have done so repetitively that I can call on it very quickly. Okay. And so those phrases for me, and I'll just share them, people can use them or take or create their own, are: may I be happy? May I know my true worth? May I know I am loving, lovable, and loved. May I love and be loved with ease. May I receive positive abundance. I used to not have the word positive in there, and boy, did the S hit the fan. So now I have the word positive. May I receive positive abundance. May I live a prosperous and pain-free life. May I be patient with myself and others. May I value all of who I am and know that I'm okay. And the more I practice those things, the more they become second nature, so that when I forget to do them on a daily basis and the S hits the fan, I can reach out to one. So they're invisible, but they really support sustainability. It's just like when the kids were in school, right? They have the fire drills, the earthquake drills, sadly, the intruder drills, all those things. The reason they can respond the way they do is because they practice them over and over again. So the other piece of this invisibility is the practice, being willing to practice. So I'll take a pause into that for just a moment. Is there anything anybody needs to say to wrap up that question?
I want to just add, after what you said, and each one of us shared something. And I just thought that was so powerful to remind people that it is practice. And some of the things that would have upset me 15 years ago won't faze me now. And that is because it's practice. And one of the cool things about practice is you're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to get it wrong. But the choosing to do the things, some of the things we laid out, choosing to do those things, even when they're hard, it doesn't feel like it, keep doing it over and over, like what Misha said. It literally will change your life. Those small things, doing them over and over. So yeah, I think that's an amazing point. Just like, it's just practice.
Yeah. Anyone else? Y'all ready for question number 2?
I'm just Misha, I'm just looking for the t-shirt, the post, so I can share it of those statements, your may I's, because those are amazing. I like affirmations and I have my 10 that I say every day. But when you share it, I'm like, yes, I love it, because it's like a lot of times I'll ask my clients, whose permission do you need? And so that it's like questioning yourself of, may I enjoy this? May I? It's like you're telling yourself on the other side, you say, hell yeah, I deserve it. In fact, so I love that, Misha. I was like, I've never heard that, but I love it.
Well, and I do need to say that the first 4 didn't come. They didn't come from me originally. I was in a course with Dr. Ruth Schwartz from the Women Who Love Women, and that was a practice that she would teach us. And I ended up adding the other 4 because they were more directly connected to my heart and my challenges. So that's why I think it's really important for people to make up their own. And if you need help, ask somebody to help you make up your own. Like, where are you struggling, and where do you want to see the opposite? Right. Yeah. You're muted, Monique. I know we get to do this to each other.
I know. I do just want to add one thing, just to wrap up the sustainability question. Rachael, in your introduction, I think you mentioned around like the need to take a look at the past and kind of how we got here. And when I think about sustainability and the work that I do with clients around change and transition, is really working to manage our relationship with change, because there's the quote that the only thing constant is change. But depending on things that have happened in our lives, and how we might imagine that the challenges that we're going through they're happening to us, or not recognizing our agency in the change, or maybe it's something that we have to do and we're enacting that change. I think part of that sustainability is just recognizing, what is my relationship with change? How do I typically respond when I have autonomy or when I don't have autonomy? And a lot of that is that introspection of changes that have happened in the past, challenges that I've been able to get through in the past. How did I navigate those? What were some of those triggers? What can I try to avoid in the future? So in addition to that practice, absolutely. Another thing with that sustainability is just recognizing how we tend to navigate it and what we might need to do differently in the future, or continue doing to help regulate ourselves.
Yeah. Wonderful. Oof. Such a rich conversation. So we have 6 minutes to do the second question. Y'all ready? All right. Question number 2. How can leaders, and I personally believe everybody's a leader, but you can think about leaders in whatever way you wish to as panelists. How can leaders acknowledge and support the hidden emotional labor of resilience without adding to burnout or pressure?
I'll say briefly, mine's going to be short and sweet. Don't smother it, right? Without adding burnout or to the burnout or pressure, give oxygen to what people need. And so, Misha, if you think about this conversation, right, how you started, right, it's not this idea that as a leader, I'm right, you're wrong. What are you going through? I don't know your day to day. I don't know what you go home to. I don't know what you brought with you. So part of it is like, don't smother what that is, because I don't know, as we mentioned with the first question, I don't know what's hidden. I see this person in front of me, but do I see the human being in front of me, right? So I would say short and sweet to me for leaders and people that are working with people, which I would agree with you, Misha, that's leading. I would say don't smother what people need. And sometimes we don't know what a person is going through. And when we add all of our stuff on top of that, because maybe as a leader, I'm having a bad day and I smother that, then now I'm doing an injustice. So don't smother it. Give oxygen to what people need.
Yeah. So just a clarifying question. When you talk about smothering, are you talking, I feel like I heard 2 things. One was, don't let it fester inside of you. Don't smother it to keep it down, but also be aware of the people around you and don't restrain them or constrain them from being able to share what's going on for them. Did I
Absolutely.
Get that right?
Yep. Absolutely. Twofold, right? Because one part of it could be, well, I see something going on with Misha, but I'm not going to connect. I'm not going to have that compassion because I'm a leader and we have to do this, and that. The other part is when you share, I'm not going to bring my opinion or what I think you should do in this space. So absolutely, Misha. Yep. Twofold.
And just with that, I want to kind of remind folks who know me in the audience that, empathy is not an excuse. It's a powerful tool for connection. So just because you're having empathy or care and concern for someone doesn't mean you're saying, oh yeah, dismiss all of your responsibilities, but it's a connection that helps people grow. So yeah, thank you for that, Mike. Who's next?
I can go. I think when we talk about or in the coaching space, naming, what is happening, acknowledging, validating, etc. I think it could be helpful for leaders to model naming what the challenge is, what the needs for support are, and asking for support, and then readjusting expectations, kind of to piggyback off of Mike. And if the leader can go first in modeling resilience, but not just resilience by any means necessary, but showing that pause, asking for help, etc., I think they can make it I try not to use the word safe space, but I think they can make it a safer space for their teams to navigate the emotional labor that comes with resilience, because it shows that we're in it together, but also I've done it. And so I'm not just asking you to be resilient, without me doing it as well.
Yeah. And what brought to mind for me when you were speaking, Monique, is I'm trying to remember the name of the person who said it, but instead of a safe space, we're creating a brave space. And then Sonia Renee Taylor coined, well, I don't know if she coined it, but that's where I heard it from, was a brave safe space for people to land softly. Right. And so that's creating the safer space that you're talking about. Absolutely. Yeah.
I really liked, Monique, what you had said, because I was thinking, similar to what you said, it's so important as a leader to do my own work. And I'm sure we're all coaches. We all have our own coach. We practice what we're preaching. And doing the work on yourself is evident in leadership, because when you're doing that work and you're learning to have someone else hold space for you, it makes it easier for you to hold space for others as you continue to do that work on you. And having led a team for many years, I began to let go of these ideas of it has to be done this way or that way, and more like, here's the end result I want. How would you like to do it? So even that, giving them power and choice and agency in the work, that feels very, I want to say tactile. It's not the right word. Very practical, but we can create that space where it's evident that I trust them to do what needs to be done. And then that, I think, opens up the door even more to a space where I like what you said as well, like it being safer, because it may not, how many places are we actually safe all the way? I don't know. Am I ever completely safe with myself? I'm not sure. But allowing that space where it's like, okay, they can process this, or, hey, I really need some time. I'm dealing with some stuff in my personal life. I think that that's partly building connection with your team and with yourself. And when it's like, they know they don't have to report to me and give me a rundown and make excuses. They can say something's going on. And I have built trust with them where I know, okay, if that's what they need, that's what they need. And I think that's a really big thing. And I loved everything everybody said, because I'm like, it's all the things. It's not just one thing. It's all these little things. And it's picking one of the things that you're going to work on and doing that thing. And then once you've mastered that, you add in another one.
Well, and that's why we have more than just me talking on these conversations. But I did find it, and I'm gonna show everybody. So the first one is, I'm gonna put it down on the ticker down below, but by Mickey Scott B. Jones. Together we will create brave space, because there's no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars, and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume on the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. And then I might have read really fast so people didn't see that, but I'm going to move on to the other one, which is Sonia Renee Taylor said that a soft space, we can't promise that it will be safe, but we promise that should one of us fall, that should we bump up against something, we will seek to make the landing as soft as we can. And that if we do that collectively, we would transform the willingness to take greater risks with one another in service of our most unapologetic, authentic selves. So, thank you, everyone. That was a great conversation. I want to give you each a moment. We're at the minute after the time we're supposed to end, which I do every single time. It's usually 35 minutes. But anyways, I want you to have an opportunity to, again, tell people who you are, how they can reach you. And I meant to mention, Monique, you're in Atlanta. Mike is in Alabama, and we got to meet in person for the first time when I was visiting in Atlanta last year or the year before. It was pretty cool. So anyways, giving you the opportunity to shine, everybody. Tell them who you are, how they can reach you. I'll put your QR code up, and a golden nugget that you took from today, not necessarily that you gave. So who wants to go first?
I can go. Were you about to go, Mike? I was like,
No, go ahead, Rachael.
All right. Well, I really loved being here with everybody because it was exciting to have so many thoughts and ideas, and then to hear other people repeating similar things, or it's like, oh, here's this, and there's also this. There's all these amazing pieces, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about life is that we get to learn from one another, and we get to share in that. So that for me just excites those parts of who I am. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm also on probably Facebook. I even have an account on TikTok, which is a wild, wild west out there. But
and I have a QR
okay,
code
yes,
in the top
yes.
left. What's the name of your
So
business,
Rebecca and I,
Rachael?
our business is Remarkably Luminous. So you can go to remarkablyluminous.com and find out a little bit more about what we do. And we would be happy to work with you or refer you back to other amazing people who you can work with as well. It's worth it. That's what I would say. It is worth doing the work that we're talking about. It's worth doing the work. You can do it on your own, but it's worth finding somebody else to work with because you'll go further faster.
Absolutely. Accountability is, yes. Okay, wonderful. Who is next?
I can go next. So again, yes, I didn't say this in the beginning. I'm in the Birmingham, Alabama area. Again, P&Z life coaching. And I just want to let everybody know I dubbed myself the 5 C's coach about 6 years ago. So it's my brand. I wear it. I preach it. I teach it. I coach it, that you are capable, competent, confident, conscious, and courageous to achieve what you need out of this life. And my golden nugget in this moment is really the collective of the whole conversation. Don't do it alone. There is power, there's strength, there is energy in the collective. And at one point in this conversation, all of us brought that out and how amazing it is to, as Rachael said, do the work, but knowing that you don't have to do it by yourself. Reach out and know that that's okay to get the help. So that's my golden nugget, is just this collective. And I'm so excited to be part of it. Thank you again, Misha.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Rachael and Monique.
Yes. So my business is Horizon Advisory Group. You can find us on the web at horizonadvisoryllc.com. I'm also pretty active. I'm striving to be more active on LinkedIn. I think that would be the best place to reach me outside of the website. And just thinking about some of the nuggets, Coach Mike used the term like smother. And I think as we're coaching leaders, and like I said, I like working with mission-driven leaders and change makers, most of my clients are in typically in the nonprofit and education spaces, but we have a few others who are just very purpose driven, and there's alignment there. But when we think about when we're working with leaders, often there's a need to have support to understand how can we create space or allow things to breathe for those that we are leading. And I think that's also something to work with a coach on, to have a brave space and a soft space to practice different leadership scenarios and skills with a coach. And so just kind of anchoring on the fact that we're all coaches here, and we are all here to help those that that are best fit. But I really like the term, like I said, Coach Mike, about the smothering. And I just think about for leaders, especially that I work with on change management, systems thinking, leading with purpose, that allowing things to breathe for the team in order to be resilient, to be successful, to be sustainable. I think all of that just really aligns. So thank you, Misha, for the time today. Coach Rachael, Coach Mike, pleasure meeting you both. And if anyone's in Atlanta, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, Monique. And I, again, am Misha Safran, happy to lead these discussions bi-weekly. September 22nd, we are going to be talking about leading with heart, how compassion and empathy shape core values, and going to have some special guests for you then, especially one of my dear friends, Crystal Whitaker. I'm excited to bring Crystal on as well. We're always interested in hearing your feedback and your comments. Those of you watching, what did you learn? What did you take away? What would you like to have contributed? What would you like to have heard from us? This is not necessarily just a platform for me to shine light on different professionals, but it's also to give you resources so that you are not alone. So I love what everybody said, that I may be a coach who helps with well-being and joy and rest. And we've got 3 other people who are also coaches who do different things. And if you find one of us, we're already a step ahead of the game. It doesn't have to be me. And so this is why I like to engage people in thought-provoking conversations. But I think it also really highlights people's skills, and you get an idea of, what are you looking for? And that goes back to the very first conversation we were having, which was, what do you want? What do you not want? What are you willing to do to get what you want? And what are you willing to do to stop getting what you don't want? So with that, I'm going to bring us all back together, and we can all do a collective goodbye, and I'll stop the recording and we'll have our own private party afterwards. So bye, everybody watching.